Oh, my man.
I know it, right? So anyway, well, now let's get started. I am Todd,
And I am Joel.
and he is also going to tell you the name of this podcast.
Welcome to the Verbal Nonsense Podcast,
Episode 2.
where
Double.
we,
Double the episode count. We have
yes,
literally, we now have twice as much.
yes,
Then
twice as much,
and you are
which is huge.
you're doubled up now too for watching episode 2. If you watched episode 1, this one will not only be doubled, it'll also be twice as good. Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Or your money back. Promise. I like the blank stare.
Gonna get that once in a while.
I love that. I love that. So it's good. It's good. We've had some difficulties today. Mostly from Joel's end for not checking my work.
Take 5?
Take 6.
Yeah.
Take 20. I don't know. We're taking them though. We're trying to give. I don't know. We're not trying to give much. Trying to give you all the sweet information. I know, Joel. I said you can go first, but I'm just gonna throw out a sweet tidbit I found
All right.
in my inbox because I didn't find it. Somebody else did. They were like, "Oh, this would be interesting," and I didn't find it that interesting. I did find it funny. It's a license plate. It's being repossessed by the government because it apparently, even though they sold it, they made it, they charged the woman for it. Now they've decided that they want it back. She can't have it. The license plate is, of course, what do they even call those? Who are those self-entitled people who get the special license plate?
Oh, the personalized license
Oh,
plate.
it's very personal, apparently, because the letters, son of a gun, the letters are P, B, 4, W, E, G, O. This is, of course, in the state of Alabama where they like to do things and then take it back really quick. And, of course, the license plate spells out P before we go. The woman, I can't remember her name, has been a mother for what she says is 27 years. I'm not sure if that's self-identified or if she has a 27-year-old kid or if the 27-year-old kid still needs to be reminded to pee before we go, but apparently that is what she says every time they get in the car. Now, as a father, if I got into the car and said, "Hey, pee before we go," and they're like, "Okay." Yeah, actually, no, I'd be much happier than that if they just got out of the car and then went inside and went pee than just peeing in the seat before we left the driveway.
Or going before you even left the house to get in the vehicle.
Yeah, that would have been good. I mean,
Wouldn't
I'm
you
sure
announce
if
that?
her nagging children, just pee before we go. I think they would have it instilled in her mind, and she wouldn't need a license plate.
I mean, wouldn't you say that before you leave the house?
Definitely, but
Not,
I
not
guess
when you, not when you get in your car and then you're like, oh, hey, pee before we go.
possibly. But apparently, the Alabama State Police or whoever decided to pull her over for this apparently offensive license plate reported it into, I guess, the license plate police of Alabama, the old personalized plate Gestapo, and decided that it was offensive. Apparently, there is a state legislation in the state of Alabama that says that you cannot have a personalized license plate that describes a bodily function. So her personalized license plate that provides revenue to her state is not acceptable, even though it is only pee before you go. we go.
Wow.
I'm not going anywhere, so it's her. I just thought that was great. And thank you, person, for sending that to me, because I had a good chuckle over it. It was a chuckle. It was a brief chuckle, probably longer than it took me to talk about it, but it's fun. So
Like how we chuckled over that little incident I told you about earlier. The guy from New York who decided to impersonate a cop.
shut the door. What?
And then went to pull over a van, which happened to be full of police officers. Yeah.
I wonder what the parking is at this New York Police Department, where they were just like, dude, there's a sale on donuts over on First and Hickory. We've got to get there quick. It's like, the traffic is unreasonable. Get in the van.
I believe, I don't have it pulled up, but I believe the article said that they were an electronics investigation team.
Oh, really?
So I think they were heading somewhere to do something. And this guy tried to pull them over. And they got out and identified themselves. And he tried to take off.
Wee, wee. Hello. Hello, we are the police. You guys look like you got it under control. Write yourselves tickets.
I'm out of here.
My New York impersonation.
And they just called ahead to highway patrol and had them picked up.
That is too funny. I literally... I don't know. Electronics investigation, you think that they're searching people's search histories?
Maybe.
I hope not.
Or maybe they were,
I hope that's just a New York thing. In southern Missouri, they just don't care what we look for. I'm not gonna lie, because that current story that I actually am pursuing it, what we talked about, and this might be a preview for future things, might be kind of a big thing, but the Westboro Baptist Church, the nice hate group in our neighbors of Kansas, and they have their protest schedule up. We talked about it, and we could not figure out why they would be protesting a Black Keys modern mouse.
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
I don't understand. It's just, but I'm trying to get in touch with them to find out. And I'm like typing in Google Westboro Baptist Church contact information. I'm just like, man, am I going to get marked? Because these people are I don't know if they're actually dangerous, but I would feel more comfortable just calling it a KKK, honestly. Just
that is terrible, man.
These guys aren't just white supremacists; they're just straight up extremists, and
will sue you any chance they get.
Yeah, they'll do some suing, but I just don't really want them knowing where I'm at. Just
that either.
And now that I'm actually talking about it, just the paranoia is actually just kind of getting to me a little bit. But
well, let's move on to happier topics then. Shall we?
Okay, that's fine.
All right. You first or me?
I actually want to hear more about the Olympics that you were talking about earlier.
Oh.
I really do.
Right.
I'm hoping that you have found more information on that, which I'm guessing probably not, because I don't know what kind of information could be had over a Dust Bowl marathon.
Yeah, it's the 1904 Olympic Marathon of St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah, and
you can find me in St. Louis.
There is one thing that I missed when we were covering this. So, like I said, there was all kinds of heavy dust around the course. It was causing injuries, like one runner who was hospitalized with hemorrhaging after dust tore his esophagus and stomach lining. The organizer of the race purposely withheld water in order to test the effects of dehydration. So,
no water for you.
I'm like, Dude, this is at the Olympics, and you decide to have like test subjects. Nice.
Out of curiosity, how long is an Olympic marathon in 105 years ago?
It doesn't even mention that, but
I'm not an Olympic professional historian.
oh,
My
why
words
not?
tripped all over. It's because I wanted to learn how to. I don't really want to learn anything. Just, I don't know. I have no excuse on why I'm not an expert on the 1904 St. Louis Olympics.
It
You
looks like
find
it
it?
was
All right.
24.85 miles.
Oh, okay. So same as the stickers I see all over town.
And as I said, you had Fred Lors, who is the first place finisher, who apparently hitched a ride in a car to the end of the course after he was struck with serious cramping. And then he got out right
Cheater,
before the finish
pumpkin
line
eater.
and then crossed it, which apparently actually fooled some people.
Now, okay,
And
so they still list him as first place, though. I mean, is this guy cheats in the Olympics? Like straight up cheats, not like snowboarder test positive for marijuana cheats. But
no.
this guy actually
Got in a car.
rides in a car to win the gold medal, and they're just like, screw it, just give it to him.
Yep.
Fool
And
some
then you
people,
had
but he still gets the gold.
speaking of performance enhancing, then you had the second place finisher, Thomas Hicks, who was given the mixture of egg whites and strychnine
Strychnine.
as an attempt at a performance enhancing drug. And for those of you who, for some reason, aren't familiar with strychnine, that's a poison that was often used to kill birds or rodents. And he had to be carried across the finish line by his handlers. So even he didn't make it across the finish line on his own.
He got a ride too. He just
Now,
it's like
now I'm
strychnine or
Yeah,
cocaine,
what?
because cocaine was legal back then.
so is heroin.
I don't really
But-
see heroin as a performance
No.
enhancing drug.
What I'm saying,
Of course, it would help him ignore the pain from the massive dehydration that he was experiencing due to the Olympics coordinators.
No wonder why these dudes were cramping up. They were dehydrated.
No kidding.
And then now they don't mention the third place finisher, but and I didn't realize this the first time I read it. You had the fourth place finisher, the Andaran Carbajal,
Yes, this
who
is
is
the
Cuban
cool guy.
national who raised money to attend the Olympics by running the entire length of Cuba. And then he gambled all the money away as soon as he arrived in the States. And then he showed up for the race in dress clothing, which someone kindly provided him with a knife to cut them into shorts.
Dress
And then-
clothing. We're talking like we're talking turn of the century industrial age dress clothing.
Yes.
This is borderline tuxedo in our day and age. I'm picturing like a the shirt, the vest, the.
And
I wonder if it had tails.
apparently, he stops for a snack while he's running. And he sees a roadside orchard, and he stops and he eats some apples, which turn out to be rotten.
Oh no!
So he gets stuck with stomach cramps, and he stops at the side of the road to nap.
A real tortoise in the hare race going on here.
Yeah, he
Only
still
the
comes in-
tortoise hitched a ride in a car.
and he naps it off, but he still comes in fourth. How many people were in this race that these other people couldn't beat the dude who decided to stop and nap it off?
I'm guessing those people just fell out and died from dehydration.
Or trying to use strychnine as an enhancement.
This is a real Mad Max kind of foot race going on here.
I was like, man, what kind of shenanigans were going on back then? Apparently, this is one of them.
St. Louis was a wild place in 1904. Oh, cocaine just isn't doing it for me. Give me some of that strychnine.
And apparently, hopping in a car and getting most of the way to the finish line was
Okay.
legit because obviously he wasn't disqualified.
I realized that Henry Ford managed to become Ford Motor Company over a car race. But I'm still not picturing vehicles, back then being that fast. So either A, he was still more or less leading the pack when he hopped into the car, or B, cars were faster, and I think they would have been. I don't know. Top rated speed of 1904 Model T. It's,
Um,
yeah.
on this day in 1904, Henry Ford sets a land speed record of 91.37 miles
Never
per hour.
mind. I'm actually disappointed that this man's Olympic marathon record is not a world record that can't be beat. I mean, dude supposedly, still got first, so apparently his speed counted, his time. Why is it not like dude went
No,
25 miles in 10 minutes? you know,
no idea.
Actually, it would have been more like 20, I guess would have been more impressive, but I don't know. I remember watching the Olympics as a kid, and the marathon portion would be on for like days. Here come the marathon runners into Olympic Stadium, and you're just like, this is cool, I guess. You watch them,
Maybe.
you watch them for an hour running like 5 blocks or something. But yeah. Anyway, there one more aside from the saucy Cuban who likes to eat rotten apples and party his Olympic money away.
No, it only mentions those three gentlemen.
That might have been the only
However,
ones. I'm curious why there is no third place. I wonder why the Cuban didn't get third place. He seems like he would have. Napping, snack time, gambling. He sounds like he probably could have got second even with the nap, to be honest with you. Because Cuba seems like a. How long is Cuba? Let me ask Google. How long is Google? How long is Cuba? How long is Google?
Google's as long as Google wants to be.
Oh, okay,
I,
no, that's just. Wow, it's the length of he specifically ran the length of Cuba.
I believe that's what it said.
Because at its widest points, it's 19 miles. However, if he ran the entire length of Cuba, that's 119 miles. And that is stinking impressive.
By running the entire length of Cuba.
Good God.
Yep.
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild. The coastline is 3,570 miles.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. That is some real crazy stuff. Almost like the crazy stuff. Zombie parasites, you familiar with them?
I am not.
We covered it before our first snafu. But luckily, I only talked about a couple of them. I have others. Snails, you familiar with them?
I am familiar with snails.
All right, your average garden variety snail is pretty gross. Pretty gross. But if you see, we're going to go ahead and call it blinged out because these parasites, they are the green-banded brusac. Over their eyes, you know how they basically have some snails have some pretty gross looking eyes. They kind of go out in little tendrils, and there's a little eyeball on the end of them, and you poke them and it shoots back into them. I don't touch them, but I've seen it on TV a couple times. These are like green. I would almost call them almost looking like ice cream cones. They're I would love to show a picture, but we're having software issues today. These things have like green bands. They're kind of clear, almost almost translucent. But honestly, they do improve that. There you go. Yeah, that's the thing. They're pretty snazzy. What you're actually seeing is a flatworm. It's pretty gross. These flatworms can actually manipulate the snail to go find more well-lit places because apparently this parasite needs light. It needs, I guess, more richer vegetation in order to feed on, and basically they feed on it by eating the proteins from the snail of the stuff that the snail eats. So essentially, these things latch onto these snails' eyeballs and drive the snail on up to greener pastures. Now, unfortunately, with these greener pastures, it exposes the snail to more predators, namely birds, where this flatworm can grow larger. So essentially, it eats, some better vegetation, but it's also really waiting for the snail to be eaten so it can land in the bird and grow bigger.
Gross.
Very nasty. Little mind controlling flatworms. Flatworms are disgusting. All right, man. Do you like ladybugs?
I do like ladybugs.
All right. Well, fantastic. They actually release a little bit of a poison that kind of stinks. You might be a little bit familiar with that.
A little bit.
Kind of, it wards off predators and things of that nature. They're also got the cool speckles. You know what I mean? All right.
Yes.
Well, the ladybug parasite is specifically made for ladybugs. This encounter because the host is actually a wasp, and it basically ignores all the deflection signs of the ladybug that wards off all kinds of other creatures, and it lays its eggs inside the ladybug with a sting. It's just like oh man, what is that movie? There's a movie. Oh, one of the grossest movies in my opinion. It's very funny. It's what was it? What was it? It had terrible effects. It was really just kind of a cheesy, fun, campy horror movie. And I'll probably remember it later. I'll remember it later and just interrupt everything going on, and I'll just shout it out. Anyway, but the same kind of thing occurs. The alien species in that movie is just like this wasp, and it just basically stings and injects with a bunch of eggs. So anyway, it definitely 100% kills the ladybug when these eggs hatch.
I would imagine.
Yeah. They burst out of the abdomen of the ladybug, creating this weird, I don't know, it's almost like a spongy gold kind of cluster of larvae underneath it with the eggs. And basically what happens is they keep the ladybug alive, not really alive in the mental sense, but in the body function sense. These eggs are underneath the ladybug, and the things that still work are, one, of course, the obvious, the red and black speckles that ward off predators. And it also will release the poison should predators decide that they're going to ignore the speckles. Yeah. And, the parasite itself basically controls the defense mechanisms of the ladybug while the larva is growing.
That's crazy.
Now, oddly enough, they're still not sure how these guys work at all. They're not really sure.
Huh.
There will probably be more millions of dollars in funding to research the ladybug parasite. Emerald cockroach, wasp. I guess we're just gonna stay on the wasp parasites this time around. They're a small, extremely small wasp. I guess wasps are a lot of different wasps that act more like parasites than anything else. The cockroach wasp, however, um, is about a tenth of the size of a regular cockroach. So this wasp is very small. I would picture that. What would that be like a the wood ant? Is that one of the smaller ants? It's tiny. It's a
I don't
tiny
know
wasp, but anyway.
because I've seen small cockroaches and I've seen gigantic cockroaches.
Well, let me see where this parasite is at, and then maybe we'll figure out what size cockroach it might be. Asia, Africa, and the Pacific Islands. So, who knows? Anyway, this thing is got it. It's a pretty wasp. Not gonna lie about it. It's green. Anyway, it paralyzes the cockroach with a sting, just like the old ladybug. But then it hijacks the mind of the cockroach, and the cockroach will then very slowly walk to a place that this wasp has already prepared for it, and it'll bury the cockroach with little pebbles. Now, the little pebbles, of course, won't stop a cockroach, but it stops this one. It makes the cockroach super docile, very zombie-like indeed. But anyway, it'll just sit there and nest. The cockroach will, and that's where the wasp presumes to lay its eggs, within the belly of the cockroach. Um, the cockroach doesn't move. It's just like whatever. It loses all hope of life, just like a 50-year-old McDonald's worker. Anyway, the larva in the belly bursts out violently out of the cockroach and then eats the corpse. Hence the life cycle of the emerald cockroach wasp.
Dang.
And I'm gonna end it with this one. We did talk about this one, but it is too good to pass up. And actually, I've got to thank a coworker for bringing this to my attention. I was familiar with zombie parasites. We talked about this in the first shoot that did not really pan out very well, but I will talk about it again because I have found indeed more information about it. It is the toxoplasmosis. This is definitely the one that takes the cake. I asked you about your cat. I will tell you about mine. When we lived in in a smaller community. Our cat collected mice daily. Daily. I mean, this cat would kill mice, play with mice. I think it was so full on mice that it just didn't even care to eat them anymore. We had a lot of mice with no heads brought into the house frequently. That's never happened to you, I'm sure. But
Oh, not with this cat.
no, yeah, cats love to rip heads. Anyway, according to a 2002 study, 2007 actually, a lot of people are actually infected with toxoplasmosis. This is, of course, the Toxoplasma gondii parasite. It's anywhere between 28 and 60% of people, depending on where you live, are also infected with this. But this is actually a single cell. Excuse me. I'm choking on my words here. It's actually a single cell parasite. So more or less, it's pretty much not really much of a danger. It's not like Ebola or anything like that. But it does have a fun little life of infecting rodents and telling them that cats are sexy. It's just like, I know
Turns him
you.
into Pepe Le Pew of the mice.
Yeah, it really just says, hey, look here, mouse. I like you, you like me. But that cat over there that you've been afraid of all your life, that's your ticket to your 7 minutes in heaven. Essentially, what this parasite does is it infects the brain of the rodent and tells it that cat urine is delicious. You should go drink it, roll around in it, just become a giant cat magnet. Because cats, of course, hate other cats and mark their territory frequently. And when they smell another cat, or maybe their own scent, they get curious and want to go find out what's going on over there. And of course, when the cat's like, "Oh, old Tom from down the street's invaded my yard again, huh?" It runs over there, and of course, it finds not Tom, but a delicious snack. Now, the research has also shown that should this mouse not get eaten right away, not saying, hey, let's go roll around in this urine, it'll actually start finding cats sexually attractive. So it will actually go seek out cats. So, I'm really clueless on why this is a thing, but it is a thing. And of course, this parasite lives better in cats than it does rodents, and apparently it does pretty good in humans too, because like I said, the majority of us cat owners probably are infected. And that's about all I've got for zombie viruses currently. Couple others that made the list: rabies, and the common flu.
Yeah.
More on that later, or you can look it up, or you can tell me more in the old comment section. I promise I read them every day.
And that's another thing. If you guys have an article or a story or something you would like to hear us talk about it, post it in the comments. We'll research it.
Oh, yeah.
Todd and I will discuss it and see if it's something.
We'll look at it, and we'll probably give the information you didn't want to hear. I will, at least. Joel will Stephen Hawking that thing.
Oh, wait.
Right. Well, I'm done with tapeworms.
That's all right. Now let's talk about that German city that offers 1.1 million euros to anyone who can prove it doesn't exist.
I'm curious on why it's set on 1.1 million euros still.
But so it's a German city that's been the subject of a long-running online lighthearted conspiracy theory claiming it really doesn't exist. Offers big bucks to whoever proves that's true.
It doesn't exist in my mind.
Apparently, it actually started as a joke. The guy who originally started it in 1994 just basically made it in an effort to poke fun at other online conspiracy theories. And as you know, people are to do with things. They grabbed it and ran with it.
They catch steam, just like Area 51 raids and flat Earths. See them aliens. See the edge of the world.
Apparently, it became such a widespread joke that people around the world actually begun to doubt Bellafield's existence. But in 1999, town officials were forced to put out a press release which emphasized that the town indeed exists. Not to mention they have a university, a giant castle.
I looked at pictures of this place. It's beautiful.
And it's got a population of like 340,000 people. But no, it doesn't exist.
Now, on the other end of that, I saw pictures of it. It looks beautiful. However, I was on TripAdvisor looking up another subject that hit my ears from somebody who actually hasn't seen our podcast but said they would if I covered this. I'm not going to cover it today. But I was on TripAdvisor to find out whether it was even based on a real thing. And
that sounds like blackmail.
I don't care. I don't negotiate with terrorists. Unless they have Twinkies. I'm not talking about new Twinkies. I'm talking about pre-Hostess bankruptcy Twinkies.
Yes, the good Twinkies.
On a side note, when that was announced, when Hostess, when they decided that they just couldn't afford to live in the world anymore, I had actually just bought a case of Twinkies. Um, I believe there was 5 boxes in this Twinkie. Hey, I got a good deal on them, and I decided that this was possibly a good investment for my lunchtime snacks. And so I had 5 boxes of Twinkies sitting up on my refrigerator at that time, and I was watching the news, and of course, Hostess closed their doors almost instantly. It wasn't like, we're filing for bankruptcy. They just had quit making Twinkies.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
you remember this? You remember the boxes of Twinkies selling on eBay for thousands of dollars?
I remember that as well.
I ate my Twinkies. I did not cash in on that because I thought Twinkies were about to be gone forever. Why would
And
I share?
I would like to point out that right before Hostess got brought back was very shortly after they legalized weed in Seattle and Colorado. Coincidence?
I think
I
not.
don't think so. No.
Definitely not. No.
Well, weed gets legalized, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, Hostess is brought back.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a coincidence at all. Oh, we need to capitalize on this.
I no, do you think that gas station burritos were also disappeared during the prohibition and then suddenly returned when the prohibition was over?
I don't think gas station burritos were around back then.
Well, I guess I know I was born in the right era. Anyway,
uh,
so so
Yarrow
Germantown
food.
doesn't exist, and prove me wrong. I haven't seen that meme yet. Somebody make it. That's ridiculous. I'm curious on why. I don't know. Their tourism must be low.
Probably.
But like
Um,
because TripAdvisor ought to be getting some serious traffic with that kind of payout. I would think anyway. Speaking of TripAdvisor, like I was saying with this fictitious battle that potential viewer, I don't know. I don't know what he is. I think he's a big tease. But he told me to look it up. I looked it up. I was like, is this based on something? TripAdvisor actually sells vacation packages to this place to tour something that didn't happen.
of course.
There is a price, there is a booking page, there are dates, there is a disclaimer that says, this is a fictional place. Do not book trips. When I went ahead and clicked book, it did ask me for payment information.
Uh,
I'm starting to believe that my future endeavors will be on TripAdvisor as I
so
sell
basically,
flat Earth tours to the edge of the world.
with a disclaimer that says you will never actually arrive there, and just leave the button up, apparently, as TripAdvisor does for stupid people.
Yeah. I'm also thinking, just possibly round trips to the edge of the universe, the inner universe that we can travel. Those will be primarily for the no moon landing people. It's like, oh, this is as far as we can go. Turn back around. Shouldn't take long. I hear that radiation belt is fairly close. I actually wasn't going to talk about the moon landing, and I'm sure people are probably sick and tired of hearing about it. But just a real quick tidbit: when they decided they were going to send people to the moon, they were well aware of this radiation belt that surrounds the Earth, and they decided that they were going to go for broke and essentially just go faster.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're like, how are we going to get through this thing? This is enough radiation to kill people. They're like, give it a little extra thrust. It's like Evil Knievel jumping the Grand Canyon. It's just like, what are we going to do? They're like, hit it wide open. So there was some concerns. The same thing with the atomic bomb. There was actually a high probability of the atomic bomb exploding and actually causing a chain reaction in our atmosphere, vaporizing all oxygen, our atmosphere, everything, and ending all life on Earth.
And they took that risk anyway.
Japan can tell you the outcome.
Oh,
Too soon?
maybe.
Okay. I'm, I'm finished up
Yeah.
there.
All right. And I know I got one last thing to share. I mean, I have another story, but I think we're running. Are we running close to the?
I have no idea. We've stopped and started so many times, I'm not even really sure.
That's all right. I'll save it for next time. But this, I'm going to show again,
No, you can just keep
just
going.
just because this was such an awesome picture. I've got it up there.
Oh, that is
That is
beautiful.
the skies in Florida after the hurricane. They're just absolutely gorgeous. The sunrise after the storm, and all the skies were purple.
That is
From what I understand, that is a rare occurrence.
that is amazing. That's pretty awesome. Not even gonna lie about it. That is pretty stinking awesome. I actually need you to look something up for me so
All
that you
right.
can share this. I just got it. It just got shared to me. I will share it to you. This is I don't even know, man. This is funny. So apparently there was a drug bust in San Diego, and I'm sending it to you right now so you can get this picture. The picture is really what sets this off. It was a shipment of jalapenos, and they found a bunch of weed in there. It's spicy with a twist. Nearly 4 tons of marijuana was found in a jalapeno shipment. I sent it to you on Messenger. Maybe that was
Yeah.
a poor decision.
Nope. I got
Nope.
it.
All right, fantastic.
Holy.
Can you share the picture of that?
Yeah, I'm just
I
trying to
mean,
pull it up
it's
into
just
a better.
like, how do you even unload something like that? I'm a proud. What does it say? Port director Rosa Hernandez says she's proud
There
of
we
the
go.
officers for seizing this significant marijuana load. This is,
Dang,
I,
that's
I'm
long.
I'm reading to find out how. Oh,
But there's
okay. Hang on a second. No, it was in a truck. It was in a truck. It was driven by a 37-year-old Mexican man on Thursday. That was
because you
just a
can
couple
see the
days
torn
ago.
open boxes. Uh, in
No
the
joke.
picture
Well, I mean that's probably in customs,
here.
but
Yeah. If you look to the right, you can see someone's gloved hand
yeah,
going into the picture.
yeah, just trying to steal some. That is,
Jalapenos or the big bricks of weed. Just
they found 314 packages of pot. There are 315 of those green wrapped
dang,
packages.
that's a lot.
Oh, apparently it isn't the biggest recent marijuana bust at that particular cargo facility.
Huh.
2 days prior, officers seized more than 10,000 pounds of pot hidden in auto vehicles in the shipments.
Damn.
That is crazy. Anyway, that's essentially all I was looking at. That just popped up on my in my messenger, and I was just like, that's a pretty interesting find. I imagine the marijuana. I imagine the jalapenos and the chilies and stuff probably deter drug dogs pretty good. But in all reality, if you're shipping chilies, I do you think that there was actually like a way to contain those, or do you think they just put the pot in the truck and then just poured the jalapenos on top of it?
To me, it looked like that's what they did.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Put
kind of
that in
hard
the
to
middle
see
of the
since it
box.
was in the containment areas there, but I mean, it just
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know.
All right, I am going to squeeze in one more story.
Oh, do please.
This happened August 27th, so not that long ago.
No, that's pretty recent.
Apparently, this elderly couple in Pine, Colorado, was in their home watching TV, and they heard a noise coming from upstairs. And they went and checked it out, the husband first. And as he turned the corner of the kitchen, he was face to face with a bear. Now, mind you, this guy is 71 years old.
Did I say upstairs?
Yes, apparently they were in the basement watching TV.
Oh, they were in the basement. Okay. No, it's like legit in the basement, or
And they
No.
came upstairs.
I got
to the
lost.
kitchen.
They were in the basement watching TV.
It all says they were downstairs watching TV.
They were
So I'm
downstairs. So it was a basement, or do you think the bear was on the second story of their home?
No, from what little they showed, they had an outside camera showing the bears come up on the porch and then open a sliding door and go into the kitchen.
So you
So
think this is
that
like a
was-
split level home, possibly? It's like basically, you know what I'm talking about? How there are a lot of mountain areas, a lot of hill areas, a lot of houses around here actually out in the countrysides have like the home is like here, but then there's a hillside, and they have basically a second level with like a lot of times they'll have like a separate living room and stuff
Yeah,
like that down there.
it doesn't
Not really
show
a
it.
basement.
A lot of people, I mean, well, at least out in like New England, lots of homes have finished basements.
Oh yeah, I'm not ruling out the basement idea. I just don't understand why an elderly couple would decide we're putting our TV down this flight of stairs.
No idea.
Maybe
But-
they're just really healthy.
Yeah, because apparently the bear swipes at the man. The man starts punching the bear back in the face.
No, oh, come on
71
now.
years old, and this dude's boxing this bear. And the woman grabs a baseball bat
Shut
and,
the
and starts attacking the bear with it. The
no.
bear, who had one cub with it, apparently there was another one outside who didn't come in, retreat. Like, they turn and, like, hoof. Once
There
the
were
wife
bear
starts-
cubs, and the bear ran away from an elderly couple.
Oh, well, it made sure the cub went out the door first with Mama Bear.
Well, I'm
right behind
sure, but still.
And then Mama Bear, the video showed a little bit of Mama Bear. Like, it didn't show anything inside because it was just an outside
Well, yeah.
cam. But the Mama Bear, goes outside with the cub hightailing in front of her. She stops, looks back in the doorway, and is like, oh, nope.
I mean, I've seen The Reverend. It's there's cubs around. Somebody's Leonardo DiCaprio is getting slammed around. Have you not
mean-
watched that?
No,
I highly recommend it if you want to see a very realistic bear attack.
But the
Come on,
gentleman,
shut up, man.
I mean, he got out lucky. He's got some scratches and
Yeah.
some gouges on him.
Yeah.
They're not showing the one on his forearm on the inside. He
That guy
actually
will
hurt.
never wear a shirt again. He just looks like the kind of guy who's just like, you know where I got these scars?
I fought a bear and I
Fought a-
won.
I fought a bear and that bear went running.
Yeah,
Reminds me of that thing. You
that-
see me
that's all
fight
I
with
had.
a
I saw
bear,
that
you better
earlier.
jump in and help the bear.
I saw that earlier and it just made me laugh. I was like,
That's
70-year-old
awesome.
dude, and he fist fights a bear.
Guys,
That's
dude.
hardcore right there.
Dukes up. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with him at all.
It's like, dude was like, up your dukes, bear.
No kidding. That is crazy. So, well, man, we've covered some stuff.
All right. Well,
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
this was the Verbal Nonsense Podcast. I'm Joel.
Absolutely. I am Todd, and you are you. And if you enjoyed this podcast, do like and subscribe. If you didn't like, just leave. I can't handle that kind of negativity in my life. No, but if
All
you
right.
have any suggestions or comments, just pop it in the comments section or hit me up on Twitter
Yeah. Me as
or
well.
Facebook, whatever. Um, Stuff will be in the description, I guess. I don't know. If I feel like it.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.